Good evening, everyone. So, today's topic
Sure.
is organ donation and transplant. And the faculty that we have here is Dr. Nikhilesh Jain, sir. He is a director and operational head, Department of Critical Care Services at CHL Hospital, Indore. Sir, you may take over. Thank you.
Okay. So we've done a basic session before, and today I would be doing the true false question stem, going slightly fast through this so as to complete the sessions. And do tell me if you don't get my voice or if I'm not audible, because what I've noticed is in between on two occasions, no, suddenly the Zoom came to a standstill. So that is what. So this is first question. CMV management in solid organ transplant recipients in ICU. The options are A. You have to answer all of them in TT in true and false things. A. Donor positive, recipient negative status carries the highest risk for CMV disease. B. Valgan cyclophyr prophylaxis is usually recommended for at least 6 months in high-risk kidney transplant recipients. C. CMV disease typically presents only after the first post-transplant year. And D is CMV viral load, which does not correlate with the disease severity. So you can give the answers in the chat box. No answers? You are supposed to take up all the options, Fahmuddin? Okay, fine. Utpal has written TTFF, TFTT, Arunima. Anybody else? F. Fahmuddin has written. So, fine. I will go on to the answers. So these are the answers, Donor positive, recipient negative. That is D plus and R minus status carries the highest risk of CMV disease. That is correct. And Valgan cyclophyr prophylaxis is usually recommended for at least 6 months in high-risk kidney transplant recipients. That is also correct. Now, CMV disease typically presents only after the first post-transplant year. This is indeed false or wrong because it can present even as early as first, second week as well. And CMV viral load does not correlate with disease severity. Again, this is false because it does correlate with the disease severity. The higher the viral load, the more invasive and the more severe would be the disease. Go on to the next question. Okay. Antifungal prophylaxis in lung transplantation, this is about that. So lung transplant recipients have the highest invasive fungal infection risk among solid organ transplants. Voriconazole is commonly used for early antifungal prophylaxis post-lung transplant. Then C is nebulized amphotericin has no role in lung transplant recipients. And D is universal lifelong antifungal prophylaxis is standard of care worldwide. So let's see what your answers are. Okay, upper is written TTTF. Toimuddin is written TTFF. So now two TTFFs. TTTF. So we've got a whole lot of variation in the answers. We'll go through this now. So the correct options are TTFF. Lung transplant recipients have the highest invasive fungal infection risk among the solid organ transplants, which is true. Voriconazole is commonly used for early antifungal prophylaxis post-lung transplant. This is also true, even though it is known to interact with certain drugs which are going to be used, commonly called as calcineurin inhibitors. We'll come to those questions. And C is nebulized amphotericin has no role in lung transplant recipients. This is false. It does have a role. Then D is universal lifelong antifungal prophylaxis is standard of care worldwide. It is not. So the option is again false here. Third question. Primary graft dysfunction after lung transplantation. So again, primary graft dysfunction usually develops within the first 72 hours after transplantation. Second is pathophysiology, which resembles ischemia, reperfusion-related ARDS. Then the third option is PGD severity has no association with early mortality. And the last one is ECMO has no role in severe primary graft dysfunction. This is all pertaining to lung transplant. Can I have the answers? Okay. Pal, Arunima. Anybody else? Okay. So we go on to this. The correct answers are TTFF. That is, primary graft dysfunction does develop within the first 72 hours post-transplantation. The pathophysiology does resemble ischemia reperfusion-related ARDS, and PGD severity has no association with early mortality. It has an association. So the option becomes false here. And ECMO has a role in severe primary graft dysfunction in the means that it can be used as a standby means to support the lungs at that point in time. Fourth question, antibody-mediated rejection in kidney transplant ICU patients. Now, donor-specific antibodies, first option is donor-specific antibodies are central to the diagnosis of AMR or antibody-mediated rejection. Plasmapheresis with IVIG is commonly used in severe antibody-mediated rejection. Now, there is a universally standardized evidence-proven treatment protocol for antibody-mediated rejection, and antibody-mediated rejection cannot occur in early post-transplant period. So, can you give the answers? Mustafa, Faibuddin, fluency has improved. And Arunima. So again, three different type of options, PFTT, FTTF, and FTFT. Okay. Let's see. Wait a minute. Huh? So correct answer is TTFF. Donor-specific antibodies are indeed central to diagnosing the antibody-mediated rejection. And plasmapheresis with IVIG is used as a rescue for severe antibody-mediated rejection. There is a universally standardized evidence-proven treatment protocol. No, there isn't one as of now. And antibody-mediated rejection can occur in early post-transplant period. You may pick it up very early as well. So the option is again false there. Go on to next question.